and the youth of our country. Thank you for joining us for this media engagement from here, the Media Center at the National Assembly of Zambia, where from this afternoon, as government, would like to pronounce ourselves on two important issues of national consequence or importance that, notwithstanding the circumstances we find ourselves as a mourning country, we thought that it was important to be able that government does ventilate on these two issues so that the country is well informed. And this afternoon, I'm joined here with my dear colleagues, Honorable Jonathan Daka, the MP for Chadiza in Eastern Province, and also the Chief Whip, Honorable Stafford Mulusa, MP for Solwezi Central constituency. Today, we have two issues that we wish that the nation be placed on the right course of information and understanding. Firstly, today the nation has been treated to some headline in one of our daily tabloids or newspapers, whose article or caption is indicating that Zambia as a country has been found guilty of human rights violations by the United Nations Human Rights Council. We wish as government to take this opportunity to let the nation know that the article in the Daily Nation of today, the 17th June 2025, entitled UNHCR finds Zambia guilty of human rights violations, is and must be treated as misinformation and disinformation, and does not reflect the mandate of the Human Rights Council. I wish the nation further to know that the final report of the Human Rights Rapporteur, which we have received as government, does not contain the allegations or alleged violations or findings as contained and portrayed in the aforesaid newspaper article. The role of the Human Rights Council, therefore, is not and has never been to indict countries for human rights violations, that is to say, to find them guilty or not, but rather to provide a platform for self-assessment. The report that we as government have received acknowledges that the Special Rapporteur is the first special procedure mandate holder to visit in the last 8 years, and the first ever with a civil and political rights mandate to do so. Zambia has availed recommendations on how to enhance freedom of expression and opinion, the exact mandate for which the Human Rights Special Rapporteur who visited this country was mandated to come and investigate or hear matters surrounding or pertaining the same. Zambia will, therefore, be reacting to the report that has been unveiled to government by way of a statement tomorrow, Wednesday, 18th June 2025, in Geneva before the Human Rights Council, wherein as a country we are being represented by a high-powered government delegation led by the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Justice, P.S. Mweetwa, and team. They will be given an opportunity tomorrow to give reactions to the concerns that have been raised in the report that has been made available to government, and not reacting to statements contained in a newspaper article of today. Invitation and subsequent report, as the case will be tomorrow, is part of the constructive collaboration between the Special Rapporteur and the subject country, in this case, Zambia. We must also indicate that the trait of disinformation has actually attracted the eye of the Human Rights Council, because even the Special Rapporteur has noted the alarming rates of disinformation in Zambia, especially amongst and relating to political players and the conduct of politics in this country. We want to urge, as government, the media, that we remain to operate the governance of this country on the basis of an open door policy of engagement, consultation, and collaboration, particularly with the media, as they are the platform upon which the citizens get to be informed about the conduct of national affairs by their government. It would appear to me, therefore, that the media is not fully utilizing this opportunity as self-evident in this particular very important national or international matter, which my dear colleagues at the Daily Nation have opted to create a screaming headline when they had an opportunity to consult and collaborate with us as government. And as Minister of Information and Chief Government Spokesperson, you know my policy. There is no media that calls me and I shun their call. I interact with every media house equally. So to see that we can have such kind of information channeled out as daily bread to feed an unsuspecting citizenry is quite concerning. The media reflects and mirrors the state of our democracy. And the media is as good as the state of our democracy. So, the media should not pander to the whims and caprices of political players who have certain sectarian interests to protect to an extent that they don't care, even when they begin to perform an endeavor of disinforming an unsuspecting citizenry, particularly on important national and international issues of this severity and scale. The new Dawn administration of President Hakainde Hichilema has done what is reasonably expected of a decent government: to promote, preserve, uphold, and defend democracy and its tenets and the expansion of the same, therefore. And to begin at all times to be wanting to paint a picture as though this is a country at democratic crossroads with a diminishing democratic space is patently and profoundly concerning and should not be encouraged. Because when you dent the image of government in this particular like manner, it has capacity and tendency even to affect the partnerships that the government of the Republic of Zambia, as a going concern, enjoys with the international community, including affecting the attraction of foreign direct investment. Because many business entities are also concerned or get interested in the state of democracy because it assures this political stability of a country and therefore generally the expected enabling conducive business environment. It is the responsibility, therefore, of all of us as citizens to be the champions of a good image of our country, especially in the face of the progress that President HH and his administration have recorded in the last 3.5 years pertaining to the preservation of law and order, the promotion of good governance, and ensuring that democracy continues to grow and thrive. That is our calling to all our citizens. In this particular regard, to the media, I must be explicit about it. It is expected that even where the majority of the media houses are doing the right things, one amongst their number will do exactly what has happened. It is normal, it is expected, but you look at the scale of the matter for you to determine whether it is time for you to have a flashy headline so that you can sell more, but at the expense of your own country. The second matter we want to talk about this afternoon, and it's a very short one, relates to the workshop that was held yesterday, the 16th of June, 2025, here at the National Assembly of Zambia in the amphitheater, which the National Assembly called for all its members as members of parliament and not minister or any other categorization. That particular workshop was a capacity building workshop to familiarize members of parliament with certain terminologies that have been used as to express the proposed constitutional amendments, so that as members of parliament they should be familiar with certain legal terms that have been used, because these are the people who, firstly, are the agents of the National Assembly out there in all the 156 constituencies, who get to interact on a daily basis with the citizens across the nation. And when certain terms, contained in a bill that is being promulgated by Parliament may be encountered by the citizenry or electorates out there, the first line of contact for the electorates is their member of Parliament. So terminologies such as first past the post system, proportional representation, inter alia, or among others, needed to be familiarized with the members of Parliament as agents of their National Assembly. So it was a capacity building workshop in the like manner as National Assembly usually holds similar capacity building workshops ahead of every budget analysis of every year. The National Assembly doesn't tire to say, last year we had held a budget capacity building ahead of members of Parliament engaging into analyzing the budget. So this year we just carry on business as usual. Every year, the Parliament or National Assembly of Zambia calls for a capacity building workshop to refresh the minds of the members of Parliament as to some of the economic terms contained in the budget, so that they are able to extrapolate the budget and be able to understand the contents, so that they are able to explain the same to the electorates. Such, therefore, was the capacity building workshop for members of Parliament yesterday. It was not a consultative workshop which sought to solicit individual views of members of Parliament as to whether they like a particular proposal or not, or their preference of how it should be worded. That was not the intention. The intention was capacity building. The process of members of Parliament, to have them speak to those issues as to what they like, what they support or may not support, has not commenced. And I'm here with the Chief Whip because I am aware that there are processes that have been put in place to ensure inclusivity even at the level of members of Parliament. We in government would not like this particular constitutional amendment, proposed amendment process, to be driven by the executive or any organ of government other than the people of Zambia at various levels, and at the apex of it, the members of Parliament whose jurisdiction resides in them constitutionally to perform the act of constitutional amendment as by law established. Those processes will be spelled out to the members of Parliament as to how they will participate, either formally and or informally, with the aim to garner minimum consensus and also have stakeholder buy-in to give the moral legitimacy of the process before even giving it a legal stamp of authority and enforceability. But when we come to the formal processes, we know that once this bill is presented before the floor of the House, then a select committee shall be charged the responsibility of receiving submissions from various stakeholders, including those who may already have publicly indicated how they stand in relation to those or some of the proposed amendments, such as the Law Association of Zambia, They are yet to come and appear before the committee to now give an official position to Parliament. The NGOCC, the church, the student movement, the labor movement, you can name a series of them, including individual members of Parliament are given the right in their individual capacity to appear before the select committee and make personal representations in their capacity as member of Parliament before even coming to the floor of the House, where now they will participate in the debate when that time comes. That also applies to individual citizens who may not come through a recognized stakeholder interest group, such as LAS, such as NGOCC or the church mother bodies. As a citizen, each one of us is entitled, once the Speaker has announced the dates, to register your interests with the National Assembly, who shall in turn, through the committee, assign a date for which, as an individual, you come and make your representation as a citizen. That is how this process will move. Then once the committee has gathered all the views from various stakeholder interest groups, then the committee will now report to the main house or the whole house for its consideration of that report, deliberations, and a vote. That is how it is all done. And I'm speaking with the privilege that the last constitutional discussion to do with amendment of the Constitution 2026, I was privileged to have been the committee's chairperson who heard the submissions of the citizens, and we reported the whole House. So nothing will change. Parliament operates within the precincts of its established rules and regulations as per the provisions of the parliamentary standing orders. So, the time for members of Parliament to give individual positions has not yet come. But as you would imagine, members of Parliament are by nature people who engage in various discussions given any platform. So, we wanted to bring the nation back into this particular knowledge, because we have seen, again, interesting headlines that UPND and opposition MPs gang up to oppose Bill 7. The time for members of Parliament, individually or severally, and or as a collection, has not yet come to begin to support or reject the contents of Bill 7. We will endeavor to keep the nation abreast at all times as to how this process moves, so that the nation is well informed. I thank you, dear colleagues from the media who have come to give us this audience, and want to thank the national broadcaster, ZNBC, and other TV stations that have given us this live broadcast so that the nation is well informed. And of course, various platforms streaming live. We are grateful to you, and we want to be of good service to you by telling the truth to the nation, especially in critical moments like this, when a nation stands to decide on a major national issue. I thank you, and may God bless our great country, Zambia. Thank you, friends, for coming.